Testing sound. Testing sound. Can everybody hear me? Wave your hands if you can hear me. Okay. We are going to get started. Welcome to community yoga on this Friday morning. So you have a couple options. You could be sitting in a chair. And if you're sitting in a chair, you're going to be on the edge of the chair with an upright posture and the feet right below the knees. You go down on the floor. And then you're going to be sitting on the edge of a blanket. Move the camera down. And you'll be sitting such that the hips can tilt a little bit forward. And again, you can keep that nice upright posture. So legs might be crossed. They could be out in front, anywhere that allows you to be upright. I'm going to go ahead and get started. So we'll take our comfortable seat. Hands on the knees or the thighs. Roll the shoulders up and away from the ears. I'm going to synchronize the breath here. So inhale, shoulders up. Exhale, shoulders down the back. Nice full exhale. And again, inhale, shoulders up. Exhale, shoulders down the back. Into the nose, out to the nose. Once more. Inhale, shoulders up. Exhale, shoulders down the back. But keep that chest lifted. You want to drop the nose slightly toward the floor. Eyes closed or soft. Just feeling the sensation of the breath in the body. At first, try to not make any changes to the breath. Just sensing, what's my natural breathing? And then we'll start to lengthen and deepen the breath. So adding a little to the inhale, a little to the exhale. And the inhale in particular, expanding across the rib cage. So as if you had a ring around the ribs, you're trying to push onto the back side of the body, front side of the body, and the sides of the body all at the same time. You'll also draw the inhale into the belly, so feeling the belly move in and out. So this is using belly breathing and diaphragm breathing together, trying to maximize the surface area of the lungs, so pushing into those outer branches of the lungs, but not in a hard way. So it's an encouraging expansion of the lungs. And now to complement this expansive inhale, I'm going to focus on the exhale, making sure that's long and smooth and complete before beginning the inhale. And with that exhale, you can release what you don't need for your practice. Just letting the exhale take away any tension, thoughts, anything that's not needed. And you can think of a wide, expansive sweep. So if you were to widen out your exhale, left to right side, just feeling the two sides of the body as part of the exhale. Just noticing the state of your being when you're focusing here on your breath. At any time, you can come back to this focus of how am I breathing, even while the body is under strain or you're doing something active. Breath is always here. Try to maintain a connection to the breath throughout our practice today. On an inhale, we'll slowly open the eyes and we'll come back into the space. So let's start with taking the left hand down, right hand up, we'll come into a side bend. So again, trying to keep that nice quiet in the mind. Connection to your breathing. So if you're on a chair, you could hold the side of the chair here. You might start to bend your left elbow, dropping a little lower on that side, but not so much that you're going to lose the connection of the right hip down. On an inhale, we'll come on up and over to the other side. So right hand down, left hand up and over. And we'll inhale back up to center. We'll take both hands now back by the hips. Again, you could hold on to the chair. And lift the chest up toward the ceiling, shoulder blades together. And if you want, you can tip the pelvic bone forward and come a little more into a back bend, starting to look up or behind if that works for the neck. Just rounding across the chest and lengthening the spine. On an inhale, we'll come on and back up. We're going to keep the chest lifted, drop the nose toward the floor, and then draw a circle with the tip of the nose, the biggest circle that you can, and any speed that you want with the neck. Just exploring what's going on in the neck, tops of shoulders today. And then we'll pause in that direction and circle the other way. Again, the biggest circle you can, trying to keep the shoulders soft and the breath flowing. And the next time that your nose is toward the floor in the starting position, we'll pause there. And then you can lift the head. Let's take this rotation to the shoulders. We'll bring the hands to the shoulders and then circle at the elbows. So again, we're trying to make this as big as the shoulders want today. So you might even bring your elbows together. Trying to lift them up toward the ceiling as you come up and over. There might be a little bit smaller circles today. Again, the speed is up to you. Keep the breath flowing. Now pause in that direction and circle the other way. Again, the elbows might come together, they might not. Big circles. If your shoulders are starting to feel tired or stiff, you could try smaller circles or even just holding out to the side. And then we'll release the hands, bring the hands down to the legs or the hips and the circle at the hips. So here you're using your whole torso. The hips stay down on the floor so we're not rocking up. It's like you're using the top of your head now to draw a circle. And then we'll pause in that direction. Let's rotate the other way. And then we'll come on back to center. So we're going to work our way into a hands and knees. So if you're in a chair, come up off the chair and down onto the mat. If you're on the mat, of course, we'll just turn up. So it might take you a bit to come down. If you're in the chair, that's okay. If you want to pad your knees with a blanket, you can do that. I'm going to have the knees hip distance apart, the feet hip distance apart. I'll have the hands right underneath of the shoulders. I'm going to come into a little bit of cat-cow here. So once you're here, we'll take the tailbone up, chest up. The belly drops toward the floor. On your exhale, we'll arch the back, tailbone now down between the knees. So moving back and forth with your breath, trying to maximize the curvature in the spine. So on the inhale, really dropping that belly toward the floor. And on the exhale, really lifting the center of the back toward the ceiling. And the next time that you come into cat pose with the arched back, I'm going to take the hips down toward the heels and reach through the fingers. And I know your knees might be on a blanket, so it might not come back as far. So you're reaching through the fingers, maybe walking the fingers forward a little more. And then try to push down into the floor with the hands. So you're engaging the shoulders and the arms. From here, we'll come on back up to the hands and knees. And now we'll take the right foot back behind. You kind of press through the heel. Try to keep the hips and shoulders level and the abdominals supporting the back, and then try to pick that right foot up and see if you can bring it in line with the hip and the shoulders. Again, without sinking into the back, so we're drawing the abdominals. Lengthen from your back foot through the top of your head. And then if you want a little more challenge, you can take your left hand off of the mat and extend the hand and arm forward. So here you're balancing on your knee and your hand, breathing. And we'll bring the hand down and that knee down. We're going to come to the other side. So I'm going to take the left foot back, pushing into your heel, keeping the hips over the knee that's on the floor. I'm going to pick up that back foot, and again, try to not sink. So using the abdominals to support, trying to keep the hips in line with the shoulders. And if you want, now your right hand could come off of the floor and extend that hand forward. And we'll bring the hand down and the knee down. Now we're going to take the knees a little wide and we'll draw the feet a little more together and tuck your toes underneath. See if you can really get them under. I'm going to walk the hands back towards your knees and sitting back. All right, checking in with your ankles here. Is this going to work? We're going to start to lift the knees and come into a squat. So the knees come out to the side. You're balancing here on your toes. Now you are free to adjust. You can bring your knees down a little more close together if that feels more comfortable. I'm going to try to come up. Now maybe some of you can bring your heels all the way to the mat. And that's great if you can do that. But no worries if you can't. So from here, I'm going to try to balance. I'm going to walk the hands back. The knees are wide. Some of you may be very far forward, and that's okay. If that's your challenge place, just going to hold there. But if you can, walk your hands back, balancing on your feet. Again, heels may or may not be on the floor. You still have more here. You can lift up or bring your hands to your heart. And if you still have more, reach up to the top of your head. So then you're going to try to balance something on the top of your head, lengthening out your spine, balancing on your feet, breathing here in your squat. All right, we're going to work our way up to standing. So any way that works here, you can bring your hands down, help you out. Some of you may be able to just push into your feet and come on up. Take your time, use your chair if you need to. We're going to work our way up to standing. Once we're up, we're going to stand with the feet hip distance apart, outside edges parallel. I'm going to rock forward and back here. So as you rock forward and back, I'm going to feel into your feet. Allow your gaze to soften, eyes to partially close. Just rocking from heel to toe. Noticing as you rock from heel to toe, is the path along the outside of the feet, inside of the feet, or are you right in the center, or is one foot different than the other? So rocking into the toes and back to the heel. Just noticing which parts of the feet engage to try to hold you. And again, you can take a peek down at your feet. Make sure that the outside edges are parallel with the outside of the mat. While we're doing this forward back motion, I'm going to try to find left and right balance. So if you feel like you're heavy in your pinky toe side in one or both feet, try to rotate inward so you can bring the big toe mound side down a little more so that your rocking motion feels like it's along the center of the arch under the toes and the center of the heel. You can lift your toes here. So you're lifting, if you're lifting your toes, you're lifting them when you lean back onto your heel. Trying to find that center from left and right. Engaging the feet muscles. Now keeping that rocking, supporting your ankles by engaging the muscles around the ankles, and see if you can slightly lift your heels now when you come forward. So we're going to come forward, slightly lift the heel, Coming back, you're lifting your toes. So we're just making the rocking a little bit bigger, but using the muscles around your ankles and now your knees to support. So I want you to tone the leg muscles. We're not locking the knees. We're using the muscles around the joints. Just rocking forward and back again, trying to keep the rock at the center of the foot line. So not too far on pinky toe side or big toe side. If you need some support, if you need to have your hand on a wall or a chair, by all means, please do that. Good. Engage now, engage the muscles around the hips. Draw the abdominals in. So now you're really supporting with the core of the body, still rocking. Just noticing now how that changes the rock. Supporting with the core, with the leg muscles, with the hips, or the knees and the ankles. Still lifting the heels, maybe lifting the heels a little bit higher and coming up ballerina style. Lifting up. If you lift up ballerina style, do so with control. Make sure the feet and ankles are controlled. So if you're lifting way up, then you're doing so with control around the ankles. And again, the speed doesn't really matter, but I don't want you to lose that control factor. So if at any time you don't feel like you're in control of the balance, come back to something smaller. Got the abdominals engaged. We're going to keep the shoulders back now. And feeling the whole body start to squeeze inward. Center line, plumb line as it's sometimes called. Whole body toning and squeezing inward, all the way down through the legs, through the ankles, through the feet. Breath is flowing. All right. I'm going to reduce the lifting of the heels. We're just going to come back to rocking forward to back. Now the lifting of heels, you can soften the toes. Notice they want to help now. And coming back to center, standing in Tadasana mountain pose, we draw the shoulders back. Abdominals in, connecting now with those active feet all the way into the floor. Notice the balance here, the balance of the body. Right in the center of the feet, legs are supporting, abdominals supporting. I'm going to keep that. Take your arms up. I'm going to bring the palms about shoulder width apart toward each other. Notice if your balance changed in your feet and your legs. Try to keep the shoulder blades down away from the ears, not squeezing. And then if you can, I'll bring the palms together and cross the thumbs. And from here, come into crescent pose. We're dipping down toward the right, so root into your left foot to get some extension on that side body. Inhale, we'll come back up to center, change the cross of the thumbs. Exhale, crescent pose, other side. Now you're rooting into the right foot and lengthening along that side body. On inhale, we'll come on back to center. Release the hands. We'll bring the hands to the lower lumbar spine. Fingers on either side. And draw the shoulders back, tailbone forward, lift the chest, a little bit of a back bend. So the further back you go, the more the hips have to come forward. And you might look up toward the ceiling. You might just look straight ahead if the neck doesn't want to do that. So broad across the chest, back bending, and it's extension. So always in your back bends, you're trying to make space between the vertebrae. So you always want to try and push the tailbone down to lengthen, and then the center of the chest, center of the sternum, lifts up toward the ceiling. The more space you can make, the gentler it'll be on your back. And then we'll draw the abdominals in to support. We'll come on back up and reverse into Uttanasana, standing forward bend. So as you come down slowly. Again, keep the abdominals in. And you may not be able to touch the floor. If you can't, you might have some friends from blocks here. You might also use the seat of the chair, whatever is your challenge point in your Uttanasana. But I want you to make sure that your hips are over your feet. And then we already practiced that of how to figure that out. And checking that the hips are in line between toes and heels. And then you're going to take the tailbone up toward the ceiling. So then as you're coming down into your Uttanasana, I'm going to lift that tailbone, engage the leg muscles, try to make your legs really long. And then the upper body softens over that. The head can hang. You can turn your head, being like a no, shaking your head. If you were saying no, nuh-uh to somebody, turning your nose back and forth. And then if you were to say yes to somebody, nodding your head, just a gentle nod. And then on an inhale, we'll stop the nodding. We'll roll our way back up to standing. Again, abdominals supporting to help. Breathing, breathing, breathing. If you're one who gets vertigo, lightheaded, connect with the feet. Feel the breath all the way down as if you were breathing with the earth. So especially as you're coming up from those positions where your head is lower, see if you can connect with the earth, breathing with the earth as you come up. All right, we're going to work our way into warrior one. So we're going to take the right foot forward and the left foot back. See if I can get my camera to cooperate. Right foot forward, left foot back, square the hips and bend that front knee. So tailbone straight down between the feet and arms up when you're ready. Virabhadrasana one. This is warrior one. I'm turning sideways here. Maybe that's an easier thing. Nope, I can't see the back foot. Ah. Well, front knee bent, back leg straight, and back heel down. If you can, the hips are square to what's in front. Well, this is not, it can be a back bend for this pose, but we're going to try to keep the tailbone going down toward the floor, lengthening the spine and minimizing that back bend. And then from here, I'm going to take the elbows. See if you can grab a hold of your elbows with your hands. If you can't quite get there, grab a hold of your wrists, but still keep your shoulders drawing back. So keep the elbows, try to get those back in line with the shoulders. So if you can grab a hold of your elbows, starting to draw your elbows back as much as you can beyond the head. Try not to strain the neck. And keep the breath flowing and keep the tone in the lower body. And take a note and mentally of how your arms are oriented, which arm is on top, which arm is on bottom. And then we'll release the arms. We're going to bring the hands to the center of the heart. Now root into your back foot and lean forward here. We're going to come into revolved side angle pose. I'm going to open the chest now, twisting around the spine. So really lengthening, tailbone the top of the head, turning toward the right. Keep the legs where they are. Now, if you're able and you want to come a little lower, you could bend your front knee a little more. See if you can hook that elbow to the outside of the knee in order to rotate outward. If you do, draw your top shoulder way back using the leverage of the elbow on the knee. That's only if you want to. You can stay up here for sure. And of course, if you are unsteady here, you could be using a chair. You could have a hand on a chair to help with balancing. On inhale, we're going to come on back to our warrior one. Breathing, connecting with the breath. And then we'll release and we'll step the feet together. We're going to work our way into the other side. So left foot forward, right foot back. Coming into warrior one. Left foot forward, right foot back, front knee bends, back leg straight, hips are square to the front, tailbone down. All these things. And then we'll take the arms up overhead, connecting with the feet. Now we've been practicing activating the feet, so feel the feet on the floor, feel the tone around the ankles, the knees, the legs. Now, if you remember which direction your arms were the first time, try grabbing the other way. If you don't remember, just go back and forth and be like, oh yeah, that was it. If you don't remember, it's okay. Just try to mix it up if you can. So bringing your hands to your elbows. And then you're going to try to draw the elbows back behind the head as much as they want to go today. Not overdoing it to a point of pain, never ever. And just to a point where it feels like, yep, that's my stopping place. Try to keep the neck soft. And again, we're not coming into a back bend, so we're going to try to keep the rib cage in, tailbone down, legs strong, front knee still bent. And then we'll release. The arms are going to bring the hands together at the heart. Root into your back foot and lean forward. Revolve side angle pose. So here you're opening out toward the left. And again, you might be using a chair here. You might be using a wall or a piece of furniture. If you're coming lower, then you're going to drop that elbow to the outside of the knee. Bring the hands back to the center of the heart and draw the top shoulder back. So all of that is optional. Your legs are your support. Breath is your energy. So keep that breath flowing. Remember at the beginning of class, we talked about connecting with your breath, feeling the breath in the body. See if we can do that while we're under some effort here. On inhale, we're going to unwind that. Challenging balance. We're coming back to warrior one. And then we'll release the hands and we'll step the feet together. Good work. We're going to come into a chair pose. We're going to take the feet about hip distance apart, outside edges parallel. And bring the hands to the hips and bend the knees. Try to keep the knees apart. Don't let them come together. So they're still about hip distance apart. And push into the feet on inhale, come on up. Exhale, bend the knees 1/4 of an inch lower than you went last time. Inhale, push in the feet, come on up. And exhale, 1/4 of an inch lower than last time and hold. Tailbone down toward the floor, lengthening the lower back, abdominals in, shoulders back, and if all of that is cool, bring your hands up and over the head, chair pose. Now if you want more, little kid chair, just bend the knees, come down lower. Breathing here. Connect with your feet. Are you rolling to one side or the other? If you are, try to use the whole foot. Try to balance across the whole bottom of the foot. Try to keep the elbows straight, shoulders back, breath flowing. Inhale, exhale, chair pose. And then pushing the feet, coming up, release the arms. Okay, I'm gonna move into balancing in tree pose. So we're gonna be standing on one leg. Now, if you wanna use a piece of furniture, you can use a chair, or wall, bookcase. I'm gonna start by standing on the right foot, so have your support on your right side or behind you. Standing on your right foot, we're gonna again engage your feet muscles, engage your leg muscles, ankle muscles, all that's your support. So just naturally training the body here, training the body to find what part of the body is supporting my weight. That's where I need to keep my attention. That's where I need to keep the integrity of the muscle tone. And then we'll start to lift the left foot. Now maybe you keep your toe down. Maybe you just start to lift the knee. Maybe you can turn the knee out to the side and bring the sole of the foot somewhere on your standing leg, just not your knee of your standing leg. So it could be you have a toe down on the floor. Could be it's on your shin. Could be in your thigh. Again, you could have your hand on a support. You can have your hands at your heart, your hands at hips, overhead, wherever you'd like to be for your tree pose today. We're breathing. Focusing on what we're doing. And then we'll come on out with control on that side. You might roll that ankle a little. Kind of work our way to the other side. So if you use the support, you can either move it over or just turning around so that you have something behind you. And come on to that left foot, feeling the left foot connect with the earth, toning the muscles of the left side. Right foot comes up, knee out if you can. Any version of tree pose. So don't hold the breath in your balancing and try to not let the mind wander. If this is easy for you in particular, it's coming back to the sensation of breathing and the sensations of balancing, those little micro movements, How much tone is necessary for the pose, and how much can you relax in the posture without losing that balance? And then we'll come on out with control. Okay, we're going to work our way down to the floor. So if you have a blanket, you're going to sit on the edge of a blanket. And take your time coming down, there's no rush. When you are down, I'm going to extend the legs long, coming into staff pose. So staff pose, the feet are hip distance apart, toes up toward the ceiling, hands back by the hips. So there's a double inner spiral on the thighs. The inside edges of the thighs roll down toward the floor. That helps keep the toes up. And the hands back by the hips will draw the shoulders back, chest open. So the intention here is to have the shoulders over the hips. The hips might be slightly tipped forward to give you a little bit of curvature in your lower back. That helps a bit with trying to be tall. So if you are trying to balance a pot of water on the top of your head and be as tall as you can, if you can lengthen up and try that. Lengthen up like all the way along the back side of the neck. Try to keep your chin level. Again, you're trying to not spill water out of your pot. Breathing here. I'm actually going to practice breathing into your belly. So allow your eyes to soften in this staff pose. And breathe into the belly. See if you can push the belly out on your inhale. And draw the belly in on your exhale. So you're going to squeeze in on your exhale. And don't spill the pot of water on the top of the head. So you're trying to keep the length without bobbing the body. So we're not moving the body. So again, we don't want to spill that water. Being as tall as we can, allowing the belly to move in and out. And now we're going to move the breath to the lungs. So see if you can expand the lungs all the way around. Feel the rib cage widen on your inhale. Again, still trying to keep nice and steady, top of the head. And trying to integrate that expansion of the rib cage with a little bit of the belly breathing as well. We're not bobbing. We're not going to lift the chest and then lower the chest because that'll spill our water. So I'm going to try to keep everything nice and steady around your shoulders and top of your head. Using the diaphragm and the lungs themselves to expand in a circumferential way. So the front of the body, the back of the body, sides of the body. Thinking like how much air would you need if you had to shout from this position? Again, don't spill the water. And then we'll allow the eyes to open. We're going to hinge at the hips, so keep the integrity of the spine and shoulders back, hinging at the hips to seated forward bend. Toes still up. Now, if the shoulders can easily stay back, then you can release your hands. They can come anywhere. Again, we're still trying to lengthen from the hips to the top of the head. And even though we're folded forward here, trying to not hinder the breath. So here you might breathe a little more into the back side of the body. On an inhale, we'll come on up from there. I'm going to take the left leg out wide, just the left leg. We're going to bend the right knee with the knee out and draw your foot in line with the center of your nose here. So coming into a half Baddha Konasana or half bound angle pose. So the foot is in front of you and the knee is out to the side. The rotation comes from the hip. Both hips are down. Toes are up on your extended leg. Now from here, you're going to come down right between your knees. And if you're all the way down, your nose will be in your foot. So that should give you an idea of how far forward or back your foot needs to be. So again, lengthen in the spine, lead with the heart, lead with the chest. Starting to drop down as much as you want here. And if you're able to, you might want to take that nose to your foot. Hopefully it's not too smelly today. Just breathing here. On an inhale, we'll come on up from there. I'm going to draw that foot in, so in toward your thigh on your left side. I'm going to take the left hand down the length of that leg, starting to drop and drape over that leg. Your elbow may come to the knee. Right hand on the right hip and open the chest toward the ceiling. We want to keep both hips down. Now, if the shoulder can stay back, you could release your right hand, maybe up toward the ceiling, or maybe even starting to come over your head. Just make sure you're not turning toward the floor. On inhale, we'll come on up. I'm going to switch sides. I'm going to extend that right leg long and bring the left foot into a half Baddha Konasana. So again, the foot is in line with your nose. The knee is out as much as it wants to go. And you're going to come forward right between the knees, toes up on your other foot. Right between the knees, coming forward. If you're all the way down, your nose might be in your foot. Half Baddha Konasana. On the inhale, we'll come on back up. You can draw that foot in next to the left thigh. Coming into our side bend, we'll drape the side of the body over that extended leg. Left hand to the hip, draw the shoulder back, opening toward the ceiling. And again, if the shoulder can stay back, you might bring your arm up or maybe even over. On inhale, we'll come on up from there. I'm going to draw the legs into any comfortable seated position, keeping that upright posture. And then we're going to turn to the left. So trying to twist around the spine using your hands to help. So again, it's like you're balancing something on your head. Breathing here in the twist. Inhale back through center and exhale over to the other side. On inhale, we'll come on back to center. Allow your hands to rest on your knees or your thighs. You could have palms down, or you might even turn your palms up. Still keep your shoulders back. I'm going to bring the nose down just a little bit toward the floor. Allow your eyes to soften or even close. Connecting with the breath in the body. I'd like you to get a sense of where you are right now. Where is the body? How is the body? Maybe where are you in your journey in yoga? And try to approach this concept without judgment. Just where are you? Just a sense. Now thinking of what you'd like this day today to be. What do you want today to feel like? Not focusing on the tasks that you have for today. Just what sensation or feeling would you like to have happen today? What would that state feel like? Can you sense it? And then deepening the breath, adding a little more to the inhale, the exhale. And slowly bring the hands together at the heart. Thank you all for joining, for sharing your yoga practice this morning. I hope you have time after class to say hi to the others who may be on the call. Have a wonderful rest of your day. I hope that what you've asked for here manifests. And I will see you all again in next class. Namaste.